My name is Annabel Rocha, and I'm a freelance journalist in Chicago, and I cover reproductive justice for a living. I write about everything from abortion to maternal health to period poverty and sexual health. And today I'm here with my good friend Ashley Cunning, who recently led a workshop on sacred masturbation. And today we're going to kind of break it down just a little bit more. But I want to start with the basics. So, Ashley, tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do.
Hi. I don't know, what is it? What am I considered? A spiritual advisor and kind of like a guide.
Mm.
And so what do? I deal with all things energy. So are we moving energy? Are we healing energy? Am I helping you remember and step into your power? And a lot of my work is centered around intimacy, basing it on remembering your power through pleasure, play, and joy.
Ooh, I love that. I love all of that. Let's go into the spirituality part, right? Because spirituality and healing mean a lot of things depending on who you're talking to. But I also feel like those are terms that can be thrown around as like buzzwords, and so it could be confusing, right?
Right.
But I want to know what those words mean to you, specifically in integrating sex and sexual energy into that.
So a lot of people hear like spirituality and they immediately think like faith, religion, and all things. And first of all, spirituality is not a monolith. It's not going to be the same for you, for me, for anyone else. And so when I think of spirituality and the way that I practice and also the way that I live, it's really just coming back home to your soul essence. So spirituality is really just coming back home to who you were before all the conditioning of the world, before all the conditioning of what you were supposed to be in your family and stuff from there. But the way that I link it, which is crazy because I found in the church, a lot of the time, like sex, sexuality, and like natural desire, it's almost like demonized or thrown like under the rug, and you
Mhm.
have to like ask permission for it. And so to me, sex is pure, it's raw power. That's all it is. And that's the exact same way that I live through spirituality. It's coming home to yourself, but it's also not being afraid of your power. It's not being afraid of your gifts. It's not being afraid of like who you are at your authentic core. And so that's why, especially with women, we're taught to be afraid of that. And then it's like the war on women, and we're seeing, different misogynistic ideologies in society and different spaces. And I'm here to say, fuck no. There's no separation. A woman in her power, she's not a threat. She's just empowered. That's all it is. She's not meant to be a threat. She's just simply meant to be her greatest self. And that's what I'm here. I had to remember that shit my damn self. And so I'm here holding space for all of us doing it.
You're jumping ahead and talking about everything that I was planning to talk about today. Hold on, let me take a couple steps back. But I think at the core of it, it sounds like it's really about searching or coming inwards rather than searching outwards for whatever it is you're looking for, right? Is that correct?
That's exactly it. And that's why, especially like when you have religion versus spirituality versus consciousness, it's not versus, it's just there's different facets from everything. But instead of outsourcing or looking for a guru, or you're looking for like, someone needs to tell me what to do, with what I do, it's you're taking responsibility for who the fuck you are,
Hmm.
exactly the same as with your power, which is through sexual energy. But I don't sugarcoat it and I don't make it cute and digestible. You call it what it is. Sex is literally your internal power.
What life experiences have you had that kind of helped you recognize that this is your path? I mean, as much as you want to share.
Yeah. No, I super love this question because it's like, so there's our past. Our past always has something to do with it. And it's not necessarily that it was a sexual past for me. My entire life, I took a like reflective step back, and I was thinking about the way that I think and I live, and I like zoomed out, and I was like, at every step of the way, I was always being told not to be something. Like there was a cookie cutter box and I was meant to fit in it. And I was like, but I don't want to fit in the fucking box. My creativity is crazy. My expression, my affection and stuff. And I was like, what box is this? Who put this here?
Yeah.
And I've always questioned why. That can be a good thing and a bad thing. But I was always like, I want to know why. And I also know that like whatever you give me, I'm always going to increase the value of it. And I was like, I don't understand where this is coming from, but it was always my desire for like you can't just give me shit and I'm just gonna take it. Like, no, I have to do something and create something from it. So that's just like the wide angle view of it. But then more specifically, and I love this, I actually just talked to my mentor about this. When I was being initiated into the jungle medicines, it was with ayahuasca, along with 6 other medicines. And one of the visuals, it was super sexual. And I was just like, I am in front of people, Mama Aya, and like I respect you and stuff, but like, shorty, I don't know if I can have this like orgasm right now.
Let's take it down a couple notches.
Yeah, and I was just like, girl, and she's like, no, go like, and with ayahuasca, the more you fight, she's just gonna be like, yeah, and you're going deeper. And the deeper I went into this and I surrendered, the more I saw the visuals of what sexual energy was, and it was very. But it wasn't like raunchy, scary sexual. It was, and that's how it started though. And that's why she told me to surrender. But it ended with like beautiful, like serpent energy, which is the sacred feminine. And I remember because I was moving my body the same way in the initiation, my hips were swaying in the visual. And I was like, what the hell is this? And then I started doing physical work on my hips. And then I started like feeling the energy. And even I think it's a year and a half later, that visual's coming into fruition, like into my life. And I was like, oh, I was meant to work with sexual energy. And that's why she was like, don't be afraid of it. This is what you're given, but don't be afraid of it. Go into it. Go into that pain. Go into that fear. And then I was like, I'm going to surrender. And that's where we're at.
And I feel like things like that can be a little, not conflicting. I don't know what the correct word is, but like you kind of fought against it at the beginning a little bit, it sounds like, and I think there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle, right? One, spirituality is stigmatized, but especially so is sex and sexual pleasure. And so I wanted to know what challenges that you faced in trying to bring these conversations to light, and like, were any of them inner at first?
So one, and I do this in some of my other sessions, but I had to face sexuality within me. Because it was like, is it dirty? Should I be ashamed of myself? And it's such, on one end, it's like super perverted. And then on the other end, I was like, oh my God, like, am I that hypersexual person that, that's just, it's all consuming. And that's the difference. It was, instead of it being consumption, it was creation. And that's when I was like, okay, well, now that I've taken off the layers of the stigmas of the society, like around me, then I started seeing truth. And that's when I was like, oh no, this is my actual truth. Like, this is just what I do. But then having that conversation with people can get real interesting. Because automatically you say like, oh, sex alchemy, or you bring up sex as power, and people go like 9,000 steps over this way. And I'm like, no, it's really just how you come home to yourself, just through a different modality that doesn't have bells and whistles. It's just you and raw. So, but now I just talk about it and I live it, and it is what it is.
What type of questions do people ask you? Like what is like the things that they'd have to overcome to kind of step into the work that you're doing too?
I think the biggest thing that I get is like, it's a side eye. Cause it's, so I think in pictures, and the way that I see it is like, Hercules, when he's rescuing, I forgot her name. Meg? And she's like, damsel in distress, all this other stuff. And she's like going through the list of like all the stigmas. That's kind of like the reaction I get. So it's kind of like, I'm going to assume before I ask you questions. And it's like, you ain't even gonna open the door for it. You gonna go off your assumptions. And now I just smile, and it's fun. It's fun because then I'm working on it. But then I start start playing with it. A cat and mouse, and how they play with it first, and then they're just like, all right, go away. That's kind of it, because I'm like, I'm open to the conversation, but like, you got to meet me in the conversation. Like, we can have it. I'm open to it, but don't come into a conversation with predisposition and put your projections on me or what I do, because this isn't just something, oh, I do this, or it's a persona. This is the way that I live, and it's through empowerment.
And I think especially as a woman, right? Like you doing this work is very significant. And actually I was going to ask, what's the significance of you doing this work? One, as a woman, but also as a woman in this political moment. Because I think this is something unlike at least we've ever lived through, right?
Yes. And as a woman in this climate in the US, in a metropolitan city, like it's almost energetically you see the rise in misogyny that's happening, especially like red pill, podcast bros and shit. And I think I got that eye roll you just did. That's literally what pushed me to do it. Cause I was just like, yeah, I'm tired of this shit, bro. Like, for what reason? And I I'm not ashamed of it anymore because now I like challenging things, not in the sense of combating, but in the sense of let's explore and expand together. And that's going to come with, you're not going to tell me, oh, you need to submit. A healed woman submits. In what fucking world?
Yeah.
Like, who the hell decided that? And it was from my curiosity, a little bit of disgust, and then also from a sense of like, no, I'm firmly rooted in what I know to be true because I've lived through it. You can't sit here and tell me 1 in 4 women are, assaulted, and we've normalized that, but a woman coming into power, now I have to, create an image around you. We're not doing that. And it's solely based on the fact of like health in every essence possible. Your mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, energetic, and ancestral health. That's where I come from. And that's what I think is super important for women because we've normalized downplaying a woman, suppressing women, and I'm just not here for it. So, and I'm not going to complain about it. That's the other part. If I see a problem, I'm going to solve it, but not complain about it. We can't do that.
Do you think there's a form of like, I don't know if rebellion's the right word, but maybe like counter protests and like what we're seeing and like the work you're doing? Like, is that a part of it that like drives you too?
I partially yes, but that's when I have to come back and be like, all right, Ashley, are you fueling this because you got some rebel in you, or are you fueling this because you genuinely see that there is like good that comes out of it, or like you see that there's progress that can come out of it? Absolutely. But I mean, and that was going to be my next point. Yeah, both can exist at once because my anger, if you don't do anything, all it is fuel. It either consumes you or you pour it into something else. And this is me pouring it into something else, but it's not scattered anger. Energy leaks are insane. It's wow, this is really the fucking life that's happening. And there's a solution for it. There's a reason why this shit is coming up. So what am I going to do with it?
I love that you said that because I always, and I believe that like anger is one of the lowest vibrational energies and emotions that we feel. But like in taking that and turning it around and concentrating it into like something you're passionate about, I think that's so beautiful.
Because I think a lot of people think the exact same way. Anger is a low vibration. Anger is actually one of the greatest vibrations. And this is how I work with people also in like individual sessions. They're like, I'm afraid of my anger. I'm like, nope, go right into it. And it's because if you let it consume you, then yes, it's only destruction. It's the exact same as fire. If you let it consume you, it will destroy. But if you let it turn and like alchemize, or you like point it to something else, it's one of the most beautiful creative energies. And I love working with anger because it's raw. It speaks directly to you and you can use it, but it's not an excuse. It is fuel. It's not an excuse.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about a couple things, but I really want to know what you want people to take away from this interview about either yourself, the work that you're doing, sex alchemy, etc., etc.
It's give yourself permission to be who the fuck you are, but give yourself that permission without the masks. Like take off all the masks and the conditioning and get to know who the fuck you are. And that's why, Sacred Masturbation in that class, I kept reiterating, like, you are your goal. You are, what did you come? You said you are the birthday. It's so dead ass serious. It's get to know who you are and who you were before people try to tell you who the fuck you were. And you do that through remembering play. You do that through remembering your pleasure, and you do it through remembering, like, damn, my body is a vessel, and I'm allowed to explore my own vessel without permission or obligation to anyone else.
Mm-hmm. And what are you working on next?
So I have my first installment of my intimacy series. It's 3 parts. And so the second installment is really that sacred masturbation class, but like expanded into 6 weeks. And so, yeah, it's not just the technique, but it's really the deconditioning of power, because power is not control. And then we go into like how to essentially like recondition in your mind, and but not even just in your mind, but where in your heart it is. And then using pleasure as a tool with you, not something that's outside of you, and how you incorporate that and you can be it in your like everyday life. It doesn't have to just be during sex. It's the rediscovery of pleasure throughout your entire life.
Oh, I love all of this, and I'm excited to see the next few parts that come out. For anybody who has questions or like wants to learn more about you and the work that you're doing, where should they reach you?
So the easiest way is on my website. It is Crown Chronicles 747 at Squarespace. And then also online on Instagram, it's A_Cunning_1. The number spelled out ONE on Instagram.
And we could add it like in the caption or like on the screen or something, so it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Okay, but thank you so much. I feel like I learned a lot. I'm walking away feeling a little bit like I have a little bit of a fuller cup, and thank you for talking to us and teaching us a little bit of something today.